Last week, Colorado gave Deion Sanders a huge contract extension, basically for being Deion. And good for him, by the way. And now every single Big Ten football coach should go into their athletic director's office and ask for a raise. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss an episode of Locked On Big Ten. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So Deion's contract, it's a big one. He hasn't earned it yet, but he got it. And we'll talk some Big Ten recruiting news and UCLA women in the Final Four getting ready, plus our Big Ten classics. But first, last week, you heard that the Colorado Buffaloes gave football coach Deion Sanders a new 5-year extension worth $54 million. And we say good for him. Anybody who gets their money, good for them. We're not against that. But it is a sizable jump from the original 5-year, $29.5 million deal that he signed when he arrived from Jackson State. And this contract extension came after a year in which he led the Buffs to a nice 9-4 record, a modest Alamo Bowl appearance, and that followed a 4-8 record in his first season. Perhaps Colorado gave Coach Prime his new deal because Deion had a little bit of leverage. Deion gives Colorado a lot of attention, but in January, at least for a moment, it appeared that the Dallas Cowboys might be interested in hiring him away. And, of course, with the departure of his son, Shedeur, quarterback, and his two-way Heisman star, Travis Hunter, going to the NFL, maybe schools were recruiting against Deion a little bit, going, he's going to leave. He was just there for his son or whatever. He's out of there the next year or two. Or maybe Colorado just likes to give Deion money. You know, back in 2024, following his 4-win season, just 4 wins, Deion fell short of his win incentive. I believe if he had gotten to 6 wins, he would have earned a 6-figure bonus. He only got 4. And still, Colorado later on in the summer gave him $250,000 as a bonus anyway. Why? For being Deion. I'm not making this up. They gave him $250,000 because he's Deion. The school said that they received so much publicity and free advertising and so much attention because of his name. They said, here, have some more money. That's cool. We call it added value. So now another year goes by. Now Deion gets a brand new contract at $10 million a year. In fact, more than that. That number puts him in some pretty high company among college coaches and college salaries. Not bad for a guy who's only won 13 games in 2 years. For reference, Kirby Smart makes over $13 million a year at Georgia. He just signed a 10-year, $130 million deal in 2024, but Kirby's won 2 national championships. He's in the mix for another one every single year. Georgia's at a whole different level of big boy football. Ohio State's Ryan Day. We talk about him every day on this podcast. He got a raise, $12.5 million a year. But again, he just won a national championship. There's Clemson's Dabo Swinney. He's third on the list at over $11 million a year. But again, he's won 2 national championships. Dan Lanning just moved into the 4 spot, 4th highest paid. He just redid his deal. He makes $11 million a year, but he had an undefeated season and was a Big Ten champion this past year. So those are the only 4 coaches that make more money than Deion on an annual basis. So Deion's sitting there at $10.8 million a year, again, for 13 wins total. That averages 6.5 wins a year. Not bad. Not bad for the 5th highest paid coach in America. Deion makes more money than Steve Sarkisian and his $10.6 million at Texas. Think about that for a minute. Texas has been to the playoffs the last 2 years, and they're in the run for a national championship in 2025. That's the kind of neighborhood that Deion is in financially. Heck, even Bill Belichick, just for reference, he'll only make $10 million a year at North Carolina. Sure, he's never coached a college game in his life, but he does bring 6 Super Bowls on his resume to North Carolina. Deion makes more money than Bill. Every one of the guys in the Big Ten who make less than that, they should all go in and ask for a raise, especially the successful ones. Just by comparison, again, Deion's 4th highest paid at 10.8. All right. Only 2 coaches in the Big Ten make more than Deion: Dan Lanning and Ryan Day. We've established that. Here's what everybody else makes by comparison. Lincoln Riley, he's a $10 million a year guy. We've talked about his ups and downs. Nice resume at Oklahoma and USC. He's coached Heisman Trophy winners. All right, he gets 10 mil. James Franklin gets compensated up to $10 million a year for winning 10 games a year, roughly, on average, right? Got to the playoffs this year. Curt Cignetti, he just got a huge raise. Now, Curt Cignetti at Indiana came into the Hoosiers making $4 million a year, which was a big raise for him, but it was near the bottom of the Big Ten. And he coached somewhere between 2 and 4 games, and Indiana said, we need to pay this guy more money. So they did. I've never seen a coach get a raise so fast as I did with Curt Cignetti. And this is before he finished off his 11-1 year and his playoff appearance with the Hoosiers. Granted, it was the greatest year in Indiana history, but he went from $4 million a year to $8 million a year, plus a $1 million a year retention bonus if he stays. That's $9 million a year. Still less than Deion, but not bad. Not bad, Curt Cignetti. Jed Fish, Washington, 7.75. Pretty steady, but well below Deion. Luke Fickell, been around, had some success at Cincinnati. Off to a slow start at Wisconsin, $7.7 million. And they just redid his deal. Again, I've told you before, they redid his deal because he had a sluggish his first 2 years have been subpar, and they got a horrible schedule this year. In fact, yesterday's podcast, we ranked the Big Ten schedules on toughness from the toughest to the easiest. Go check it out. We got Wisconsin right at number 1. This is on yesterday's Locked On Big Ten podcast. Their schedule is brutal. Anyway, Luke Fickell's going to earn his $7.7 million. Kirk Ferentz, been there for 26 years. You got to give him a cost of living raise each and every year. He's up to $7 million. Jonathan Smith, brand new deal, right? Is going into second year at Michigan State, $7.25. Well below Deion. Brett Bielema, $6.65 million. This is the best steal of any deal in the Big Ten. Brett Bielema won 10 games last year. 2 years before that, he won like 8. He's only making 6.65. He's due for a raise. Matt Rule got a base of $6.5 million. He signed an 8-year, $74 million deal that balloons to $12.5 million in 2030. Don't forget, he's got Carolina Panthers money. They bought him out for $40 million when they fired him. Greg Schiano's in there for $6.25. PJ Fleck is in for $6. Mike Loxley just over $6. Brand new Purdue coach Barry Odom is north of $6. Sherrone Moore, actually near the bottom of the Big Ten at $6. He's just in year 2 at Michigan. That's going to change, by the way, if he keeps beating Ohio State. David Braun, kind of hard to get his figures at a private school like Northwestern, but his predecessor, Pat Fitzgerald, was making in the $5 million. So maybe Braun's in that neighborhood-ish. Deshaun Foster at UCLA, he's the lowest paid guy, $3 million a year. Chip Kelly, when he was at UCLA, was making north of $6. So anyway, all those salaries, take a look at them and how they compare to Deion Sanders. Look, again, I'm glad Deion got his money. I'm glad he seems happy to remain in Boulder. unfinished business, even after his kid's leaving. That's kind of cool. I think it's good for the game. It's great for Colorado. But Deion's good for the game no matter where Deion is. And maybe that's why he's getting paid so much. Or maybe he's just got the best agent in football. Got it done for him. All those other coaches I just mentioned, every one of them, they should get on the phone right now with their agent and say, hey, let's get that salary going up. Look what Deion got. Look what the market's paying out there. Do it before spring ball wraps up. Anyway, would love your comments on this very topic. Hit us up with the comments on YouTube. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below, and you'll never miss a single episode. And don't forget, you early morning commuters, we have our audio-only version of the podcast on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts 2 hours earlier in the wee hours of the morning. So if you're driving to work, you want a little company in the car, we got the audio version out there too, in addition to this video version we do each and every day. And don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com. That's the number 10. All of our podcasts go there. Plus, you can buy merchandise from your favorite Big Ten schools right there. Again, talkbig10.com. All right, I want to talk some recruiting. We got some news to talk about at Michigan and Penn State. Ryan Day talks about Deion Sanders' plans and thoughts for spring football. Interesting spin by Day I wanted to share with you. And we'll also have our Big Ten Classics coming up. So we got a lot to do. It's all right here in the next minute on Locked On Big Ten. 5 Hour Energy gives you that boost that you need. Comes a nice little convenient little bottle, all these flavors. Maybe you're doing more at the end of the day because of daylight savings time, more time after work, or maybe your body clock hasn't caught up yet. Still maybe a little sluggish at the end of the day. 5 Hour Energy has your back. Check them out. And they give you a little boost to get you through your day or your fun or your chores or whatever you've got to do. If you're staying up late, maybe watching your favorite sports, then you can maybe squeeze it around a golf with the sunshine out there, but you need a little energy to do it. 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. And you can get 5 Hour Energy. You can order it, or you can get it at your local stores. And for whatever you want, they got great flavors, tropical burst, tons of flavors. And you can mix and match flavors as well. So whether you're traveling, I like it if the road gets a little blurry and the late night driving, all that kind of stuff. 5 Hour Energy will give you that boost. Go to 5hourenergy.com and you can find over 15 flavors to choose from. Watermelon, blue raspberry, peach mango. Awesome. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack. You can mix flavors, have it delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. Again, that is with 5 Hour Energy. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. We always appreciate that. And, of course, you everydayers out there, thank you very much. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. Your team every day. Don't forget to check out our website too, talkbig10.com. While we were just talking about Deion Sanders, we did like his idea that he floated a couple of weeks ago where he wanted to salvage the idea of the spring game by doing it in NFL style. Bring in another college team, maybe a few days of head-to-head practices, controlled practices, and follow that up with an exhibition game or a scrimmage. Syracuse coach Fran Brown jumped on it on social media. He's like, yeah, I want to do it. Let's go. Deion, we'll come to Boulder. We'll do it for a few days. Check it out. And we actually dedicated quite a bit of time on this podcast and the whole idea as a whole here on Locked On Big Ten. Unfortunately, the whole idea is against Big Ten. It's against NCAA rules. The NCAA has since doubled down on its rules, says, nope, not doing this. We're not doing it. So I guess we'll table it for later. A lot of coaches wanted it. A lot of people thought it was a good idea. We think it was a good idea. How does Ohio State football coach Ryan Day feel about the idea of these inter-squad, bring in another team and scrimmage and practice and all that like the NFL does? He's not so keen on it. By the way, he supports others that are interested in doing it. So that's cool if they want to do it. He doesn't think it'd be right for Ohio State. He'd be too worried about sustaining injuries during such an event. And He says at Ohio State, we have certain rules of engagement or practice. For example, if a receiver's diving for a ball, a defender can't take out his legs or hit him, kind of let him go, save the extra hard hitting for the games. So he wouldn't be comfortable with the rules engagement in case the other teams were not as disciplined with any rules that were put in place, and he'd hate to have one of his players knocked out for the year. So, look, we all know whether you're playing a spring game against your own players or playing another team, injuries can happen. They can happen on any given play, whether there's contact or not. That's how Ryan Day feels about it. Michigan football has offered a scholarship to 3-star wide receiver Daylen Sharper for the class of 2026. They're out there looking for receivers to match up with Bryce Underwood in the future. Daylen Sharper is the son of former NFL safety Darren Sharper. Daylen's a pretty big target at 6'3", got a knack for jumping over defenders to make catches. He's from Arizona right now, and Arizona State are driving pretty hard to get him to go there as well. They're also interested in his services. Michigan's also chasing down one of the top running backs of the 2026 class, and that's Forney, Texas 4-star Javian Osborne. He's narrowed his choice down to Michigan and Notre Dame. That's it. He tweeted out a picture of himself with the two logos side by side. He reportedly had 42 offers. 42 different schools wanted. Basically, every Power 4 school, or most of them, wanted him. A good job for him to pare that down from 42 to 2. Top schools were going after him: Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Texas A&M. It's down to Michigan and Notre Dame. Got a low center of gravity. He's 5'9", like a bowling ball. And, of course, Wolverines running backs coach, and former Buckeyes running backs coach, Tony Alford, is also in the mix for 5-star Virginia running back Savion Hyder, who is considering Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee. Michigan also signed 2 running backs for the class of 2025, coming this year, 4-star Jasper Parker and 3-star Donovan Johnson. Michigan's doubling down and getting running backs in there. They always do, though. And then there's Penn State's James Franklin. He's trying to flip an Alabama recruit for the class of 2026, 4-star edge rusher Jamarion Matthews. Remember that name. He committed to the Crimson Tide in February, just a little more than a month ago, but he still has visits planned, especially for Happy Valley this summer. Guy's 6'2", 240 pounds. He's going to visit Michigan. He's going to visit Oregon as well as Penn State. Franklin is going to remind Matthews of the successful pass rushers that have recently come out of Happy Valley. It's a long list. You got Micah Parsons. You got Chop Robinson. Now you got Abdul Carter. I'm sure he's going to throw all that at him. Matthews is coming off a year in high school where he had 17 sacks and 29 tackles for loss. That's pretty good. All right, switching gears a little bit. Tomorrow, Friday, women's basketball. The Final Four resumes. We got a Big Ten team in action. First of all, we got Texas taking on South Carolina, the defending champs. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN tomorrow night. And then top-seeded UCLA. The Bruins, led by Lauren Betts, taking on UConn, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific on ESPN. By the way, Betts' younger sister, Sienna Betts, scored 16 points to lead the West to a 104-82 win over the East in the McDonald's All-American Girls Game at Barclays Center. Sienna is a UCLA commit, wants to follow her sister's footsteps. So good luck to the Bruins and UCLA in the women's Final Four. Since we didn't get any men's teams from the Big Ten in the Final Four, we're all in, of course, anyway, on UCLA. All right, speaking of what's on TV and when, we're going to take a look at Big Ten Classics and live action this weekend. We always have a feature at the end of the program. This is what we do on Thursdays. So we'll check it out. We've highlighted a few things. We'll share those for you. Coming up next, right here on Locked On Big Ten. Well, March Madness is about the April aberration as we've moved to Final Four into April. FanDuel is giving you a chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 of bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from the buzzer beaters or game-winning shots, point margins, all that stuff. Who's cutting down the nets? So check it all out. It's a lot of fun. Super easy app to move through and check out. And of course, with any tournament, anything that's going on, any sport, go with FanDuel. And again, the app is very simple, and you get paid immediately. No waiting, immediately. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops while you still can all weekend long. That's at FanDuel.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right. It's time now to take a look at our, coming up in just a minute, our Big Ten Classics and live action in just a sec. All right, let's do it right now. Take a look at our Big Ten Classics from the Big Ten Network here this weekend. And I'm going to put this on screen. There we go. And take a look at Friday, April 4th. And we'll start it off at all Eastern times, 1 o'clock Eastern. UCLA Basketball Classic. We got women's Big Ten Championship game, that great one between UCLA and USC that was just a few weeks ago in early March. Lauren Betts had 17 points and helped the second-seeded Bruins beat the top-seeded Trojans 72-67 in that Big Ten tournament title game. Then at 4 o'clock, we've got more Big Ten basketball in 60, where we edit down the highlights of a game down to 60 minutes. UCLA and Iowa. This was from February, so you check that out. Lauren Betts had 22 points in that game, and Alina Arnesalo had 2 free throws with 3.8 seconds remaining to lift the third-ranked Bruins to a 67-65 victory over the Hawkeyes. At 6 o'clock, Big Ten Live, women's basketball Final Four pregame show. Get everything you need to know right there Friday at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific for you UCLA Bruin fans getting you ready. And then later on in the night, the Big Ten Network's going to go with the men's gymnastics, Big Ten championships for the team event. And then close out the day on Friday with some Big Ten softball, Michigan at Oregon. Let's take a look at the weekend now. Some things we've highlighted. Again, all Eastern time on Saturday, the 5th, Saturday the 5th, we've got Iowa at Northwestern for Big Ten baseball. And then at 5 o'clock, more gymnastics, team gymnastics. At 7 o'clock, another round of gymnastics. This will be the individuals. So at 5 o'clock, you got the team event. 7 o'clock Eastern, you got the individuals. And then on Sunday, April 6th, Big Ten basketball and 60, more from the UCLA game. 12 o'clock, we go with lacrosse with Penn State at Michigan. And then at 3 o'clock, women's lacrosse, Michigan and Oregon. More Big Ten basketball and 60, in case you missed it earlier, the replay of the edits and the highlights of the UCLA Final Four game from Friday. And then we close it out, 7 p.m., Maryland at Indiana. There you have it. That's the slate from our Big Ten Classics and live action from the Big Ten Network over the upcoming weekend. So check all that out. You'll enjoy it. And also want to remind you, there are many ways for you to interact with me here at Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. Also our website, talkbig10.com. Whatever you do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for free so you never miss a single episode. And don't forget, you early morning commuters, we have our audio-only podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can check that out, get a jump on the day, or just check out our videos later on YouTube every single morning. While you're at it, go back for a second listen. Check us out. Maybe you missed yesterday's episode or the day before. And we also invite you to a second listen for our friends on Locked On College Basketball with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. So this is what they do. They're great at it. Find Locked On College Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That'll do it for us. We'll get into the weekend. We'll have our picks tomorrow. among other things, keeping an eye on basketball, but spring football is front and center as well. All that coming up on tomorrow's episode. Tell your friends about us. We're here each and every day, all under one umbrella, all Big Ten, all 18 teams, all the sports, news, analysis, and opinion, all under one umbrella. It's what makes this podcast, Locked On Big Ten, so unique. Nobody else does it like this. So thanks for checking us out, and can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman.